Hey guys, what's up? Irish Emerald here. Welcome back to the Core Chat Podcast, episode number 10. We actually finally got to episode 10 without killing each other, which is great. I am again once joined by my co-host, OP Jellison. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm the OP Jellison. We reached the double digits, like Irish said, without killing each other, so that's a W.
It's good. It's a big W. I'm like, yeah, man. And people are still listening to us, so we're doing something okay.
Yeah.
We're doing good. I have one bone to pick with you, though, man. I'm a bit disappointed.
Let's hear it.
You promised me, like, a few episodes ago that you would have a jingle sorted out for us, like opening jingle, jingle,
Did I do that?
Segue. Yeah.
Please don't
man.
tell me I did that.
You did, man. You said you would hook us up, and I'm here. We're here at episode 10. I don't have a jingle to start the podcast off. I don't have a jingle for when we move through the topics. You say you're going to hook me up. I have no jingle.
I forgot. I will get a jingle by episode 11. If I don't know what my consequence should be, but you will figure it out.
Do you know what? I think the listeners should be able to say what the consequence is.
Oh no, not this.
Yeah, I believe, right, for you guys listening now at home, right, what is Jellison's punishment for not sorting out the jingle? I think
don't worry about it. I will have the jingle by next time. There will be no consequence happening.
Watch now as Jelli, every time I ask Jelli, do you want to record a podcast? He's going like, nope, busy. I'm really busy. No, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Sorry, no, I'm too
haven't
busy.
gotten the jingle yet.
Yeah, just keep postponing it. Then it'll come around to Christmas, and you'll be hearing like jingle bells, like just.
Yeah. Just got to check my shipping times, and then the next podcast will be out.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. So, anyways, guys, we got a nice podcast for you this week. I don't know where it's going to take us, but it should be good. We're going to have a quick Smogon chat. We're going to recap, like we already talked about the Smogon changes recently, but we're just having a quick recap as to where the Gen has finally landed as we approach Gen 8. But then I'm going to have Jellison's hot take, which is going to be good. Then I have a special topic as well. So we said we might throw two hot takes at you guys this week because we're kind of winding down with the Gen 7 meta, so we figured we might throw more stuff at you guys
yes.
for you guys to listen to.
And we don't know what each other's topics are, so if they're the same thing, that may very well be the case here.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
We like to keep it a secret so that we get the wow factor, like when one of us brings it up. Then we have a quick draft league recap with Eon World Trophy and PGBL. We've no idea what happened with BBL, guys. It's just gone. No idea what's going on with it. So we've just said,
I followed through like week 8, and then I don't know what happened there. So
so whatever happened. And I think now I have to admit it was a bit late in the day for me to be asking for two other questions, but I think we have one or two.
We do have a couple.
Yeah, we do have a couple. I think what we might do is there was a question asked us about what we think about the Gen 8 competitive. I think we're going to have to do that, unless that's your hot take, Jelli. I think we're going to have to do that as like a whole different segment.
That is not my hot take, actually. So
okay, I think we're going to have to do that as a whole different segment on another show, because that's going to be like real in-depth, analysis. And of course, not even half the Pokemon that's going to be in the game have been announced yet, which is a bit crazy. So we're going to have to dust off the crystal ball and look into the future a little bit. Anyways,
so I guess we'll just look into the one Twitter reply we got on the tweet.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
probably, but we'll see if we get out. If while the podcast goes, we get other questions. We'll throw them out. Okay, right. So let's get on into it. After the latest Smogon changes, Jelli, what have been your thoughts on the new tier changes, how they've affected the meta, and do you think it's in a good place now that we're actually leaving the Gen?
Well, I would just like to point out Mew has still not gotten quick banned from UU, despite it clearly being broken. Now, I don't necessarily know if the tier is just not updated on the list or whether it's actually still in the tier, but Mew should really get out of there. Go back to Borderline, please. As for the OU meta, I think the Gen 7 meta is in a really fine spot to end things off. I really think it's been fun since the beginning of summer. I've been really enjoying Gen 7 OU, so I hope this is how the meta concludes. I don't want to see any drastic changes affect things. Like, I believe at the end of the last gen, we saw Mega Sableye get banned right at the end, but honestly, breaking stall teams is one of the fun parts of ladder for me right now, so I don't want to see that go either.
As
for the lower tiers, Crushing stall. It feels good.
It
Trust me.
feels good. It does. It does.
I don't have much to say about the lower tiers just because I don't have much experience regarding them, but I could imagine that the lower tiers are probably experiencing the same thing. They're at very healthy standpoints right now, and they really don't have any need for change. It's just Yu with that Mew that I think needs to go away before it's set in stone when the generation ends.
See, now, my opinion on Mew being in Yu has kind of changed a little, right?
All right,
So,
let's hear it.
right, I originally had gone in saying, okay, Mew is going to be like, you can't use Mew defensively, right? Okay, because the big threat in Yu is Terrakion. So
Yeah.
a Mew can't check it, right? It can't deal with a Banded Stone Edge, which is ridiculous when you really kind of think about it for a little bit. Wait a minute, you can't come in on a Banded Stone Edge. What? So
Or +2 Continental Crush, yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of screwed, in that regard. So it's very it comes limited as a defensive pivot, and then as an offensive powerhouse, you have to if you're going to play a Mew, I think it has to be offensive, and you kind of need it to be set up with the Museum, I think. And so
Yeah.
I think, considering that like the likes of Terrakion is still in UU, right? I don't see like Mew being overly broken compared to Terrakion. Like Terrakion is an offensive juggernaut. There is next to no answer to Terrakion in the tier, and it can run several different offensive move sets. But Mew, for it to really shine, has to be like some setup variant. Now I originally thought, okay, Mew with setup is going to like break UU, but like the more I've kind of seen it, the more I'm like, there's not too many switch-ins, but like there's not exactly like Mew doesn't exactly find the easiest of places to get to +2, and I kind of felt that like Mew has to put in a lot more effort to get to be more offensively viable than some of the other more broken offensive Pokemon in UU. So that's the reason why I'm like, maybe it should stay in UU. Maybe that's what I'm kind of leaning towards. That's been kind
I
of my
agree.
opinion on it. Yeah.
I do agree that the setup options are very limited, but the thing is, Mew's coverage, it literally needs 2 moves to hit everything in the tier except for one Pokemon. It needs Psychic or Psyshock, Psychic because Immunium Z, and
Mm.
Aura Sphere. The only Pokemon that takes those 2 attacks in the tier is Deblade. Nothing else takes the combination of those 2. So if it can actually get a Nasty Plot up against a bulkier team, it's pretty much won the game. And if it gets a Rock Polish up when hazards are up against a more offensive team, it's pretty much won the game. So that's really where I guess it shines in a bit, because you don't need to get both stats to +2. You just need to identify the playstyle and have those 2 correct coverage options. And unless your opponent does have that Deblade that you need to chip down, there's no way you're going to lose the game. So,
But I just find like, now I'm not saying that Mew's like limited, because Mew can do everything. Like it could like have a ton of setup and like a plethora of moves it can learn. But I just find like where does Mew set up like a Nasty Plot, or where does Mew set up like the Rock Polish, to kind of, or the Agility or whatever it is, to kind of really, do work. And I still think a load of muck can kind of come in on Mew. Like,
yeah, it's a Alolan Muck, Deblade, and Latias. Those are the main 3, but let's see.
So, I kind of think like, maybe Mew is kind of doing okay in UU. I don't think it's kind of maybe, too crazy. Now, I wouldn't be against it going to maybe UUBL, but if it got a ton of usage. But I think like down in UU, I'm like, I can kind of see it a lot more. I'm like, yeah, actually, there's a couple of things that it can kind of do it. Like Mega Aggron can kind of deal with it, like the standard, 252 in Spadef Mega Aggron set, that can kind of deal with it.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, that can kind of deal with it. Like Alomomola can kind of, be annoying and chip and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay, no, take that back. Alomomola drops to +2 Psychic
Does
in
it?
1 hit. It does, yes. Alomomola Spadef is very not okay.
Okay.
Base 45 Spadef.
I would have thought like that you see 165 HP, but all right,
Yeah.
okay.
It's like Guzzlord. The HP is great, but the defensive stats are really down there. So
It just doesn't help it out. And then I suppose if you have Aurasphere, like how hard does Aurasphere hit Blissey? Do you
that's
know?
true. I mean, I guess that's where Psyshock could be better, but then you're missing out on Munium Z. So I definitely get where you're coming from.
Like it's definitely like, I know what you mean. Like we were shocked that it was in you, and we were all like, "This has to be quick ban," because like it's Mew for crying out loud. Like how do you predict what Mew's gonna do? It's so hard. But like, the more I think about it, like it doesn't do enough defensively to be a really good defensive pivot, unless you're checking something else that if you have one answer for Terrakion and Mew is checking the vast majority of everything else in the tier, then that might be okay, because there's a lot of stuff that Mew can kind of deal with. Like it could, like, you know, it can kind of maybe wear down like a Suicune or a Scizor or something like that. Like it could definitely do a lot more, like a good bit more work and kind of deal with Infernape a little bit if defensively. You just can't deal with a Terrakion, and like, to be fair, that's not like a knock against it, because very few things deal with Terrakion in the tier. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody pointed out in the last comments, Palossand is one of the better Terrakion switch-ins and it's bound on UU, so
You know,
there you go.
It's a bit crazy. I think
Terrakion's balanced. Yeah.
Balance. It's perfectly balanced. It's perfectly balanced.
Yeah, but where are you going?
But I kind of agree. I think like the tiers overall. I don't know about Ubers now, by the way, because I just don't play Ubers. But I think overall the tiers are very good. I think you use like outside of Terrakion is very balanced, and I'm actually still surprised Terrakion has remained in UU. And I'm not saying it needs to be OU, but I would have gone banned to UUBL because of usage, because it's so broken. Everyone was probably using it. So I was like,
slap choice band track on your offense, and there you go, best breaker.
Oh, I have a sixth slot on my team, and I really don't know what I need to put on it. Wait a minute, choice band Terrakion. This is a simple move. This is simple,
Yeah,
like, you know.
Let's just OHKO everything. How about that?
Easy, you know. What moves do I put on a choice band Terrakion? What on earth will I ever do? Like, you know, what coverage can I possibly need on this thing? You know,
you literally just run close combat, Stone Edge, Earthquake, quick attack. That's it.
That's it. Easy. You know, it's an easy time. So I was actually.
Yeah.
No, I was just like going back to my point. Like, I'm just surprised it's still there. I would have thought usage alone would have had it bumped up to UBL. I honestly thought, like, maybe not OU level, but definitely UBL level. Like, someone must have taken a look at this and said, "There's no answer to this. It gets high usage. We have to do something," you know. But I don't know.
Yeah, even FizzDef Hippowdon does not switch into it. So let's get it out of here, please.
Yeah, come, please get out.
Besides arguably Mew, like we discussed, Terrakion's like the one thing that could potentially make the meta healthier by the end of the generation, getting banned.
Maybe. Do you know what the interesting about UU actually was? Because it was a while ago. Because I know we're focusing heavy on UU here. I'm sorry about that. But
yeah.
Well, we were just talking about the state of like the different tiers, and UU was the most controversial change before the end of the gen. But like Mega Venusaur for a while was in UU, and it was like one of the main answers to Terrakion was Mega Venusaur, and it's UUBL.
So Venusaur?
Venusaur in theory could kind of if I remember correctly. Now let me double check this, but if I remember correctly, Venusaur could potentially deal with it. I think.
Maybe Max Vizdef. I gotta pull up the damage calc for this. Like I have doubts.
Yeah. So like, hold on. Let me just make sure this is. Okay, no. If it's Z Stone Edge, forget about it. Oh, actually, no. Maybe Max Vizdef. Maybe you're right.
Max Vizdef could also take 2 Stone Edges from a choice band hit without Rocks Up, so there's that too.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to hit 2 of them. So.
No. Why did I have it in my head? Maybe it was Gliscor. But no, if you're +2 and you go for Z Stone Edge, you OHKO Max Vizdef Venusaur. Was it Gliscor then that was in my mind?
No. If Venusaur doesn't take it, Gliscor definitely doesn't take it.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Let me just double check this. I'm doing the calc as we speak.
Nope, I already did it. It's 102 to 120.
Yeah. I don't know what.
We're desperately searching for something here, but no, it's not happening.
Because I remember there was there was some critical thing. I just can't remember now because it was a few months back. But there was some critical thing that Mega Venusaur was able to check, and I thought it was Terrakion, but maybe it's not. Was it? And I can't remember if it was Balloon, and I can't remember if it was Buzzhole that's able to check it. But they're all in UBL, right? My point is, right, there's potential answers to Terrakion in. Like I say, Buzzhole could actually deal with the bulk, natural bulk it has, and the fact that it's resisted close combat and it's neutral Stone Edge. But my point was, there's a couple of Pokemon here in UBL that could potentially deal with Terrakion, right? Now, possibly, and my idea was like with Mew drop down to UU, okay. Like surely, now maybe it's because it's the end of the gen and it can't be tested. But could Buzzhole be dropped then? Maybe not because it's bug. But maybe I can't remember if Breloom was able to take a hit. I can't remember if Mega Heracross was able to do it. I honestly can't remember off the top of my head, but that was my point. Like, surely one of the Pokemon in UBL, which is designed, which could potentially take a hit from it, would be able to come in, but I don't know.
I could see. I mean, it does get area release, so unless Buzzle wants to run Koba Berry with a ton of Fizz Def, then probably not.
How do you deal with this thing? Like, how do you deal with this thing? It's
Yeah. Like at that point, they would just take the double Rock Stab off, and usually it runs both Stone Edge and Rock Slide. You just replace Rock Slide with Area Release, and there you go.
There you go. Easy. But yeah, I think overall, I think OU is in a really good spot. I think UU is in a really good spot. I think when we're kind of talking about like this, like an overview of like the whole gen, I think like the impact of Z-moves has just opened up so much in the meta. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Because it's totally taken over. It was a massive takeaway from any bulky playstyle. Like, it meant that you like at any time a random Pokemon could nuke you and break you open. So it totally, like, you know, like reinvented what the tools we had to use, and it was really, really good. And I think every tier has had really good stuff to play with, and it's
I really appreciate, like you said, the much less bulky meta compared to Gen 6 thanks to Z moves. That was huge.
Yeah, that was massive, and it's so much more fun to play in because it's just more, it's a little bit more random, and it frees up your your creativity as well for when you're trying to decide something. Like in NU, you could easily just like pick up something and just slap a Z move on it, and it will break through some NU bulk because you know it's because there's not like the bulk isn't like really hard to break through, and you know the Pokemon in NU might be either too slow or they don't hit hard enough, and you'll be able to give it a Z move to be able to compensate for it and be able to actually really do an awful lot of work, and that is cool in my opinion. So I like it. I think it's been good. I think overall this gen has been really, really good, and I think if anyone says Gen 7 meta was boring, they need to get off the high horse,
reevaluate
and realize that they just weren't that good at it. Simple.
And you're just calling them out now.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Have you got anything else on Smogon Buddy before we wrap up?
Not particularly. Just a couple of meta changes, like we said, and I think the meta is going to leave at a very healthy position.
Nice, perfect, brilliant.
All right, but moving on. Do you want me to introduce this now?
I do indeed.
All right, so moving into Gen 8, there's obviously going to be a lot more newer fans, right? And some of them are going to shiny hunt, and some of them are going to get into competitive. I sort of wanted to. Now, this is kind of weird. It's not necessarily a hot take. It's more so a hot topic because I don't have a direct standpoint on it just yet. But I wanted to discuss...
Get off the fence. Get off the fence. Stop it. Get off the fence.
I wanted to discuss the reputation that shiny hunters have where they are not capable of becoming competent Pokemon battlers. And we've seen this since the beginning of Gen 6, X, and Y, when competitive really took off. There's always been a stigma behind shiny hunters that they just cannot function competitively after they get so invested into shiny hunting. And I think it's very easy to just narrow this down to yes, it's true, or no, it's not true. But I actually wanted to look at specific examples. For example, certain draft league battlers and their successes and how much they shiny hunt. We can look at how many shiny hunters have sort of risen in the VGC format, whether there's any recognizable names there, if you know what I'm talking about. Because obviously the one big name in draft league is A-Drive. He does shiny hunt, but he's also relatively successful. The thing is, he still doesn't reach that consistency that players like MV, Gator, and Joey, who basically never shiny hunt, reach. So that's really just the introduction. This isn't necessarily going to be a topic where I rant like one of us usually does. I just kind of want to throw the topic out there and to get our thoughts on it. So what do you think?
I think it's a bit of a mix, right? I think that a shiny hunter is not like going to be a bad battler, right? Like that's not a given.
Yeah.
But a shiny hunter that would create content just doing shiny hunting is not going to be on the same level as a guy who battles week in, week out. Okay, like consistently. It's not physically possible for them to be at the same level, because if somebody's shiny hunting 5 days a week on stream for 2 hours versus somebody who's playing on Showdown 5 days a week for 2 hours, the person who's playing on Showdown for 5 weeks, for 5 days for 2 hours, is going to end up the better battler in 3-4 months time, no matter what the shiny hunter does in the background. Now, unless the shiny hunter dedicates a ton of time to doing battling as well, but if they're only able to dedicate that much time to their content, and afterwards they just edit a video and then they switch off and they play another game or they go, go to work or something. Like that's that would be like the normal schedule. Like they do their content and then go to work or have their lives. Like for me, the shiny hunters can't. It just can't be possible because you're just out of practice. And it's the person who's in practice, who's in the mode, who's in the battling mode, who's able to make the predictions, who's confident and competent at doing it. That means they become. It just means that they'll end up being a better battler over time. So like I think some of the names, right, that would you name dropped A Drive, right? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a couple of reasons why A Drive has got like really good success in draft league Pokemon, right? One is that he's like when he was at his peak, right? He was battling a lot, right? Like when he was at his peak in the GBA, he was battling a lot.
Yeah.
So
Season 4s and 5s, yeah.
Yeah, he was battling week in, week out. He was doing exactly what I was saying. When you look at his recent league form, right? He's making playoffs, but questionable coaching roster. So like he should have been making playoffs because he's got the foundation of being a good battler. He's got a massive front office backroom team that's able to help him team build, do mocks for him, show him there's different situations he has to be wary of. So he comes in exceptionally prepped, and then finally, what was it? How do I say it? Finally, like if you look, finally my point would be is that his name, right? If you're just a normal battler, his name would create so much nerves for an opponent. He psychs out his opponents, right? Unless they're a really accomplished battler like Joey or Envy or something like that, because like say for instance when Auto played A Drive or like just like a smaller YouTuber going up against A Drive, right? They're going to be nervous as hell, even though like they would have been battling way more often and probably have a better skill set than Auto, but because they're battling against a really big name, they're nervous and they're already psyched out. So therefore, like they're until they get their head screwed on properly, the first 5 to 10 turns is not them at their best, and like it can cause really big problems. So I think like when you're a big name like A Drive, your name carries off in a lot of ways. The support network you have is massive, and the basic battling skills you garnered because you used to do battling week in, week out. So therefore, you're always going to have a standard base. Now, if someone came in and was just doing pure shiny hunting and then they went straight into battling, it doesn't matter the support network you have. You don't have the basic Pokemon. You don't have the basic battling skills. You're not going to do well, and that's just the way it is. Like say someone like Kay Cray, like they just don't. She doesn't have the basic battling skills. She needs to do more battling, and then she'll get better. And that's the reason why she was struggled in the WB, for example. So I don't think it's a hard yes or no. I think it depends on the like the shiny hunter themselves, what their history has been, and how big a skill set they have as a foundation. But for me, they just cannot be able to reach the level that someone who's battling week in, week out can, because they just don't have the practice. They just don't.
Ooh, I do agree with a lot of what you said, specifically the time investment thing. Obviously, someone who invests more time is going to be a more successful battler, but I guess that kind of raises the question, what is the sort of skill cap on competitive Pokemon? Because sure, so a player who battles is going to do better than somebody who shiny hunts, but if they both understand the simple concept that I should let my win condition not get toxic, or I should preserve my win condition until the end game, what is the real difference? Because if a shiny hunter invests all this time, as long as he understands that concept, is there really anything that the competitive battler, in quotes, has the edge over? It's like,
oh yeah, totally.
That was probably phrased horribly.
Totally. Like the guy who's battling week, or guy or girl, sorry, but the person who's battling week in, week out, right, has a better understanding of lures, has a better understanding of making predictions, has a better understanding of when to pop a Z move, has a better understanding as to the various different chips they need. It doesn't have as much ring rust, so we'll know like the various like what chip damage this Pokemon needs for my I need to get like 20% so that my tornadoes or my thunderous with grass knot is able to kill this mammoth swine, for example. Like, you know, like they'll know what they need to get. You know, like, so that like a lot of those skills I would have classified as like high level skills. You know, another one would be scouting for your opponent's Z move. So when you know that your opponent's going to pop a Z move, you would make the switch, you know, sack something, then bring it back in your win con so your win con doesn't get bopped by the Z move. So like all these high level skills, I would say someone who's battling week in, week out, day in, day out would have versus say an A Drive or a Pokemon who have done a majority of shiny hunting this gen, and despite having like a nice foundation of Pokemon battling, they don't have these high skills as polished. And then it showed when they went into playoffs and they were up against more high level opponents that they lost. So that would be my take on it. Like that's the skill cap, as you were asking. That's the skill cap for me.
All right, I definitely agree. It sort of seems like you're leaning towards optimization is the skill cap. Sure, one can understand the basics of competitive battling, the wind conditions, like I explained, but if you really want to optimize every turn, recognizing what's important and what's not, when to scout for a Z move, then you definitely need to, I guess, focus more on competitive. Like you said, there's no way around it. The one thing, though, is I would like to point out players like A-Drive do often mess up more than the competitive battlers do. For example, against Patters, A-Drive just completely missed Toxic Stall during prep. The thing is, you will also see qualities like that in the highest level competitive play. And do you think it's necessarily the rate at which that occurs that matters? Because it happens to everyone. So what do you think?
It's hard one for someone like A Drive and someone like Pokemon, because they have such a big front office. Like, it's very hard for him to. It's very hard one to judge because they have such a big front office. Like that should be covered, because if you have 3 or 4 people helping you build, someone in that group should have said Toxic Storm might be a problem here. Do you know what I mean? So so I think it's a bit more of a skewed example there. I kind of get what you mean. If like A Driver's doing it by himself and say someone like Joy is doing it by himself, the likelihood of Joy making that mistake versus A Drive would be like say 1 to 5. Like every one time Joy makes a mistake, A Drive will make that mistake 5 times, and I can kind of see that happening. But for someone like A Drive, Pokemon, and some of the other bigger names in shiny hunting that have also done draft league battling, they would have a front office that should be able to deal with the sorting. So A Drive making that mistake, I feel like, is far less forgivable than say someone like say someone who is not playing with a front office, because they don't have that support, they don't have that help. So that would be my take on it.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I guess the quality of a front office is a big factor. I mean, obviously, even if you're not a dedicated competitive battler, you do shiny hunting. If somebody in your front office is, then there you go. But I mean, we saw Joey get completely destroyed by In Vivid Color in the quarterfinals of WBE.
Yeah.
His front office was Gypsy King, and they both did not recognize the fact that sticky webs were just going to destroy them when the defogger is Comfey, and there's a Nidoking on the other side of the field. Now, I guess I definitely agree with their point that for every one time Joey makes that mistake, A Drive might make that mistake 5 times. But is there a skill cap to the point where you can make that mistake no times? You will always get the correct prep, and assuming no luck factors have come into play, you will win the game. Do you think that's possible or not?
I think it's very possible to get like extremely close to 100%, but I think you can never get to 100% because of human error.
All right, I like that take because, I mean, obviously no one's perfect, but I guess, how do I want to conclude this? I just had great phrasing and I forgot. No, this is so sad, but I would say when you can't get to 100%, is there... How do I want to word this? This is actually really tough.
Like I would say if you're able to get it right like 95 out of 100 battles, I think that's extremely high level.
Well, yeah, I guess the big question is, can you get to 95%? I guess what time commitment do you need to get to 95%? Can you shiny hunt and still do that? Or do you have to like put all your time into competitive Pokemon? What do you think?
I think you can do it, right? Like I definitely think it can be done, but it has to be like your life. You know?
All right.
So like and that's just the way it is. Like there's no way you can shiny hunt for 3 hours for 3 days of the week and get and skip that grind. Like, you would have to be able to do both, and that's tough, and it takes time. Like, you would have to have Pokemon content or just YouTube content to be your livelihood. Or let's say you're like, if we had like a really proper esports professional setup, if Pokemon Battle in there was paying your life, that was your livelihood, then you'd be able to do it. But I think if it's not your livelihood, I think it's impossible. I genuinely do think so. Like, there's no way someone can do work like a 9 to 5 job, for example, come home, shiny hunt for 3 hours, then go on Pokemon Showdown for 3 hours, and then go to sleep, and then wake up next morning and go to work. It's just not a healthy lifestyle. It just can't be done.
Yeah, of course. I mean, life factors are there. I guess the final question regarding this topic is, so do you think that when players pick up Sword and Shield, the players who dive right into shiny hunting will never reach the same competitive play level, at least during the generation, that the players who automatically have a background in competitive Pokemon and automatically dive into that will reach?
No, I don't think so. I think everyone has their own kind of growth when it comes to like any skill in life. Each individual has their own kind of growth. So I think any individual can jump into competitive Pokemon at any different time, and they can grow differently. And like, growing as competitive battler has like a ton of different things to it. Like, you could, like, if you have the right help around you, if you're talking to the right people who are able to give you the right hints, point you in the right direction, are able to look at replays and say you should have made this move rather than that move. Like, your growth then becomes much more faster because you're getting coached. Whereas if you're trying to figure out for yourself, it will take longer. The grind is harder. So I think, every individual has a different growth, and then how they surround themselves and lean on people, and how they sponge knowledge off people and off YouTube videos is a big thing as well. Like, it purely depends on the effort and the support network around an individual, and it doesn't matter what time you jump in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's not like the case where, if you have to jump in immediately to get there. No, you could definitely be mucking around with the game until like March, and then decide, right, I want to get serious in this and go in. Now, I'm not saying, you're going to become like, you're going to make Regency Worlds ranking inside like in that time, like from March to Worlds, like.
Oh yeah, because obviously there's a ton of other factors like championship points and then experience with the new meta. So definitely what you're saying there.
But you could definitely go from starting off in March to having to being a very good, reliable, competitive Pokemon battler in draft leagues and on Smogon and on the ladder. You can definitely get to that level. For sure.
All right, I like it. I guess like the biggest reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I definitely think once a player has a general understanding for even the optimization concepts of Pokemon, all you need to do is really apply that to different metas and you will succeed. I was having this conversation on Joey's stream the other day, so I was just curious whether you think shiny hunting would take away from those optimization factors or not, and it seems like you think they do. It does. So
I think it has to. I think it has to, man. I think it has to. I don't. I'm not saying that you can't get there. Like, you can definitely, like, at any point you can try and polish those skills off, but it's time. Like, it's pure time commitment, and I just don't see where they have the time to be able to learn and polish those skills off. I
like it.
That would be my take on it. That'd be my take on it. Now, I do think a Pokemon battler can go off and become a shiny hunter like that, though.
Oh yeah, of course.
But the other way around, not so much.
All right, well, appreciate you answering all the questions. It's funny, it was my hot take, but I definitely was a lot more keen to hear your thoughts on it. So yeah, appreciate it.
No problem. If anyone else who's been listening has any comments on it, let us know. Either if you're watching on YouTube in the comment section down below, or let us know on Twitter or on Discord. Links to our Twitters and Discord in the description of the podcast that you're listening to on your podcast service.
All right, sounds good. Now, I'm going to assume that because you weren't surprised when I brought it up, this is not your topic as well.
No, this is not my topic. I was just about to tell you, buddy, this is where we should have a jingle, because we can move on to the next segment, and I could just play the jingle, and it'd be nice, This is where you should be like...
We already had this conversation. We don't have to hurt on me again.
I'm just saying, like, this is where we could, like, have one, and it'd be nice, and, could have a little guitar riff, like... It'd be nice, something like that,
Just guitar.
I'm just saying, like, like, between now and the next episode, gotta sort it out, you know? Just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Right.
Let's
I
see.
actually...
I will get it done.
Yeah. No pressure. No pressure, man.
All right, go ahead. I think I've been waiting for you long enough.
Okay. I actually have a very serious topic. Or hot take, or I don't know if it's really hot take. I'm going to say it's a hot take. You're going to get two hot takes this episode, guys.
Wait, serious on the Court Chat podcast? What is this?
What is this? I don't. Us going off script. Wait, what? There's a script. I came across something the other day, right? And it kind of blew my mind, and I kind of said, you know what? Next time I'm going to sit on the podcast, I'm going to talk about this because I just thought it was bonkers. I just thought it was absolutely mind-numbing. So we know, and obviously I want to hear like Jelli's like point of view on this, and all that kind of good stuff. I'm sure I might ruffle some feathers with like what I'm going to talk about. But the other day, I saw like there's a good like somebody I'm fairly I talk to fairly regularly, and he posts on Twitter constantly complaining about Sword and Shield. Right now, not complaining, but like genuinely critiquing the game, like properly saying, look at this. This is a mess. This is a problem. This is a problem. What have you? And that is perfectly fine. Sharing your opinion on something, like you're supposed to, and you're allowed to share and have an opinion on something and be able to express it, right?
All right.
And okay, which is fine, which is perfectly fine. And look,
So where's this but?
well, like I'm gonna preface this saying, look, I have my own problems with Pokemon Sword and Shield. I've said it a couple of times in this podcast as well, but I'm still going to buy the game, and I still think it's going to be a very good game. It's going to be a commercial success for Game Freak, but it's not going to be a classic, right? It's going to be it's going to have. It's not going to be a classic because there's going to be a large section of the fandom that's just going to be like, but that national deck stuff, you know? So I'm still going to buy it because I'm going to enjoy it, right? But anyways,
Yeah.
my point was, right, okay, this person, I'm not going to name his name, but I'm going to call out the person who replied to him because I thought it was outrageous, his behavior, and it was ridiculous. So this person made expressed his opinion and said that this is wrong. It was some image that came out recently of like one of the environments where T-Tar's there, and the shadow and the shading is a mess. It's just a mess. But anyways, under the radar, Kelly replied and went off on one, saying and the general gist of what he was saying was, I don't want to listen to your negativity, and blocked him. Like literally, I don't want to listen to your negative comments. End of discussion. Just blocked him. And like, so they had 2 or 3 tweets back and forth, and Kelly could not get an argument, and just basically said, "You're being negative. Stop it. I'm out." Right?
Ooh.
Now, I don't care what anyone's opinion is. Right? If you're not happy with the game, I'm cool with it. Right? Because I'm not happy with some facets of it. If you're delighted for the game, I'm cool with it because I can't wait to see some of the stuff in the game. I think the open world thing is going to be really, really good, but I think it absolutely sucks that we're not getting every single Pokemon because it's just going to kill. I think it's going to kill the meta and what have you. And I think that's perfectly fine. Now, and I know why. I know that like, there's definitely some YouTubers out there that are saying this is going to be the best game ever. I'm not of that opinion, but they have to say that because they make their money off that. So they have to say it and get people.
They have to promote it. Yeah.
They have to promote it. Now they're not getting paid to promote, but they're going to get paid for every video that they make on it. So, you can kind of it's hard to see that if they're too genuine or not. But my biggest gripe was right. Okay, and this is something that I have a big gripe against is that somebody actually had a proper complaint, right? Proper critique, say this is wrong with the game, right? Like this is a problem, like this is awful. Game Freak should be doing better, and I've called out Game Freak on this podcast, so I'm behind the critique, but no way, no how should Kelly have the audacity to just tell somebody, "Shut up, you're being negative. No one wants to hear this." Like that was what he basically said, and that is outrageous. Like there is no one should have the power, the audacity, like to be able to go off and tell someone to just shut up and stop being negative. That is ridiculous. Now later on, Kelly replied to him on YouTube. Matt wrote a big long essay comment. the general gist of it, guys, was he said, you shouldn't be critiquing the game until it's out, and then you should give proper complaints. But then 5 points later, he says, people release footage earlier so they can get feedback from fans and see what can and cannot be fixed. Is that not like a whole what the F situation there? I was like, wait a minute, do you not realise what you're saying here, buddy? Like, that we're not allowed to critique pre-release footage, but then you're telling us that companies release pre-game footage to get the reaction of fans and see what they think. Like, does nobody see the difference there, right? So I was so appalled by this behavior. I was like, what is going on, right? Now I don't care what personal problems Kelly has. I don't care what has been, like, what mood he was in. I don't care if he was just tripping, if he got up on the wrong side of bed, if he was drunk. Now I've been known to have a few drunk tweets in my past, but never anything that bad. But like, just like anyone who's doing this, right? Anyone, stop. Just stop, please. Just stop, right? If you are not happy with this game, feel free to say so. If somebody, and the reason why I bring this up, I'm not just saying this like Kelly was outrageous, because he was outrageous, but the main reason I'm bringing this up is because this is everywhere on Twitter between Pokemon content creators. It is everywhere. And I was like,
oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm just saying it is like, can everyone just stop it, right? If so, like, I get the guys who are doing this full time, plug the absolute crap out of this until the cows come home, to the moon and back, because you have to, okay? If you're not happy with it, like, just say it, make your opinion be known. And if somebody is replying saying, oh, well, you shouldn't be so negative about it, you just be like, listen, it's my opinion, right? Deal with it.
Just let the people who are happy about it be happy, and let the people who are disappointed be disappointed, and don't start quarrels, is I guess what you're getting at here, right?
Exactly. Don't be a dick. Don't be telling someone they can't have an opinion, because everyone is entitled to an opinion. And I was just looking at this and I was like, this is madness, right? And I'm not that big. I'm not that huge. Like this big, or it's this small fish trying to become big in the the whole Pokemon content creation scene anymore, because I'm not doing it. So I'm like, I can call someone out if I want to anymore now, and it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to call Kelly out. Kelly, you were a dick. You shouldn't have done it. You should have known better. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Cop on, son, and get a life. Literally, get a life. All right. And I'm going to say it to everyone else: if you can't deal with a negative opinion and you're just tweeting out or complaining saying, I don't want to hear about anything negative about this game, get over it, guys. Right? That's the way the world works.
We're just using Kelly as the primary example here because he was sort of the one that was notable to us. But this is everywhere. Like, it's not just Kelly's.
This is everywhere, right? So if you're one of these guys, get over it, right? Everyone's entitled to have an opinion. This is how the adult world works, people. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. You're not going to agree with it. But if you don't agree with it, you just got to say, look, we have to agree to disagree, and we move on. Right? You can't just be shutting people down saying, I don't listen to your opinion because it's negative. You can't be childish, right? And I just thought it was outrageous. Madness. I'd say, like, for those, I think definitely for those who are, like, just regular listeners rather than just content creators who listen to this, they're probably, I don't know if you're oblivious to it. I wish I was you right now whenever I go on Twitter, because that would be lovely. But if you have seen it, don't engage with it. And I'm pretty sure they're just as sick of it as I say I am, and maybe you are. But yeah, I want to just get that out there. I thought it was outrageous. What about you, buddy? I know I've just kind of went on a rant. You got anything to add to it?
Not particularly. I definitely agree with your point to just leave your opinions to yourself and don't be hostile. I definitely, like, if you're going to have constructive arguments or constructive criticism on other people's viewpoints, do it. But if you're just going to be straight up hostile, say somebody's wrong and block them, there's no need. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
I'm not surprised that I didn't know about this, just because I don't follow Kelly, or I'm pretty sure the person who I know you're talking about, who Kelly responded to. So, I mean, yes, but now that you've brought it up, I pretty much have the exact same viewpoint as you. I obviously have my own opinion regarding the game, similar to yours actually, but I'm not going to go ahead and call out other people who are, say the game is going to be horrible or say the game is going to be the best ever, right? Yeah. They all have their reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure at some point, like, we'll sit down and we'll go through, like, what we like and what we won't like
Yeah.
before the game is released. And I'm pretty sure after the game is released, we'll sit down and say what we like and what we have and what we don't like about the game. And we'll have a pro and after discussion about the new game. But, like, for the love of God, guys, just grow up, please. You're wrecking my buzz when I'm trying to, like, DOS off work and not having to type code and try to scroll through Twitter and just enjoy myself.
Clearly, the solution is blocking everybody who causes controversy, right? That's clearly the deal here.
Yeah. You think I wish I could do that in life. Do you know, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Can you imagine?
That would be cool.
Can you imagine, right, if you're at work and someone just came up and just, started spouting absolute nonsense and you could just, click a button.
Slack a block button on their forehead, yeah.
Yeah, and you just can't hear anything. Like, their mouth could just be open and closing, but you just can't hear any noise. Like, I wish the world could work like that sometimes. That'd be lovely. It'd be really peaceful for me in some places.
Yes,
right.
Cut out all the hostility. Obviously, we're not going to do it to people who are actually being constructive, like we mentioned. But
yeah. We wouldn't want to do that. We like constructive criticism, feedback. Which please let us know if you have any of that for the podcast, because we need that to get better.
Yeah. I'm actually glad you put that out there because it's probably only going to get worse considering we're getting closer to the game's release. So
definitely. Oh my God, it's going to get worse. But you know what? Just. Oh, like if you're on Twitter and you're listening to this, please don't engage with this sort of reaction. If you want to talk about someone and have a proper back and forth constructive chat about, do, because that's nice. It's what we need to do more.
It's very tempting to just get on board with your friends and try to be hostile towards the person they're being hostile towards. Just don't do it. It's not worth it.
No, don't. Constructive back and forth, guys. That's how ideas and opinions and movements are formed, and that's something we shouldn't kill.
Yeah, the point is, if you're thinking about blocking somebody, it's probably a good idea to just stop right there.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're being racist or homophobic, then definitely block them.
There you go.
There we go. That was a nice little public service announcement. That was lovely.
Right, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just like, don't do this. I like it. Beautiful. Irish and OP.
I'm glad we went from something like super analytical to something really controversial there. That was cool.
It was nice. Right, we will move on to the Eon World Trophy. We have the Eon World Trophy and PGBL to talk about at the moment. Of course, everyone knows the EWT as the league that Jelli abandoned, and so if you guys wonder what that league is,
that's the thing of the past now. We don't talk about that.
You didn't watch any of this, have you? If you don't mind,
I have not followed any of it, no, and at least not for the last 3 weeks or so.
So you when you dipped, you don't just dip, you full on I'm out. Good luck. See you later. Sayonara. I'm not listening to
I pretty much stopped following the Wi-Fi Draft League community when WB ended. That was it for me.
So here's me having to offer the deep dive analysis, and we're listen,
hey, I still have the playoff picture in front of me. Don't worry.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I watched a couple of games. I figure it was leading up to it was the final week of the EWT that just happened. A few different playoff permutations that happened. I watched Vepsis versus Frosted and I watched Auto versus Shuckle. We'll go through both. I'll go through both quickly just to give you an idea as to what happened.
Did Vepsis and Frosted finally play? I thought Frosted was forfeiting that.
No, they finally played.
Okay.
They ended up shivving that into the last week. Frosted needed a W to make playoffs. Vepsis had it secured. It was kind of cool because it was kind of like teacher versus student because Vepsis helps Frosted out a lot with building and drafting, so it was cool in that kind of regard. Frosted played a brilliant early game. Vepsis was on the back foot for ages. Vepsis was just in a really, really bad spot for a while, and he had to make a really bold play in order to just get the game back to a 50-50 situation rather than momentum wise, rather than Frosted just being all over him. And Frost has a very kind of nice play style where she will get a small bit of chip on you constantly while switching, so she keeps the momentum while just nibbling at you to the point where then she'll eventually just go for the nuke and kill. So she was all over Vepsis with her play style doing that. But then a bit of yellow magic happened against Frosted, and that allowed Vepsis to get rid of rocks and set up toxic spikes, and it was the real turning point in the game there, because like then Vepsis had full momentum because double powers. When a double power happens back to back, then you've literally lost all your momentum because Vepsis has now gone two free turns, and that's what kind of really took for Vepsis to grab total
Yeah.
control of the game. And once
Wait a
Toxic
minute.
Spike,
I think I actually watched the clips from this battle. This was Incineroar versus Tentacruel, right?
that's right, yeah, and it's
Yeah,
exactly
I do
what.
remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, and literally that matchup caused allowed Tentacruel to just get free hazards up, remove the rocks, and Frosted had defog on Tornadus, but never
Yeah.
clicked it. And like we're not talking like, oh, like this is kind of mid game where Frost had like 3 Pokemon left. Like Frosted had, I think, was it 4 or 5, and
Yeah.
only Tornadus was the only Pokemon not grounded. And that meant that when she brought in the Crozma, like the Crozma did work, but was getting just was eventually got beaten because of Toxic Spikes. And when she was switching, because Frosted relies so much on switching, it meant that every time she switched, she was constantly getting 12% taken off by one layer, Toxic Spikes being up. So Lopunny got worn down. Tornadus was getting a bit of chip because that was her most reliable switching without getting more poisoned. And eventually it came down to Vepsis having four Pokemon, and Vepsis, and Frosted's last 3 Pokemon not being able to break through correctly, and Vepsis just did Vepsis things and just put himself in the right position and won. Whereas had Frosted just been a bit more bolder and said, I need to get rid of these hazards now, and just went for the defog with Tornadus, a bit more braver, a bit more bolder, and then allowed Necrozma to come in and do a bit of work, or made sure that Lopunny didn't get toxic, that would have made a bit more of a difference in the end game. But once Spikes was staying up and everything got poisoned, it was just GG at that point.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like this is a case of where Vepsis had the hazard stack and Frosted just sort of played it normally. I think it's important to recognize if your opponent's trying to slowly whittle you down, whether it's with throwing out Toxics regularly, whether it's with throwing up Spikes, Stealth Rocks, you should naturally play it in a way where you don't switch now more. Now, obviously, I don't know the specific circumstances of this game. Obviously, if Frosted has a big win condition out, then maybe she should have switched it out, but that's just something I wanted to point out about competitive in general there.
Mm-hmm. See, the really hard thing for Frosted was that she was running Z-move Tornadus. She had popped the Z-move earlier that game.
Yeah.
And Vepsis had 0 aura, which outsped and pretty much O-code Tornadus. So, I get, I'd like to keep Tornadus because Tornadus is really, really fast, but you have Mega Lopunny, your opponent has 0 aura still in the back that's going to O-code your Tornadus. Just get rid of the hazards. Tornadus, has already popped the Z move. It's already done some of the stuff it needs to do. Just get rid of hazards. It's the other thing it's here for, is hazard control. And she just failed to execute there, which is a little bit unfortunate. But it was really unfortunate because Frosted played so good early game, and Vepsis was all over the place. It was mad. So it was a really fun game.
That's rare to see Vepsis go all over the place. It's like
it was just like he was so far behind so early. It's very rarely you see Vepsis being so far behind so early, and Vepsis having to make extremely bold plays to get back into the match. Like, had Frosted kept the hazards off, Frosted probably would have won that game, which is a bit wild. Then the other game I watched was Auto versus Shuckle King, because this is again another game that Auto had to win to make playoffs, and Auto brought Hyper Offense, and it was really good because because Auto actually used Hyper Offense really, really well. It was probably something that you would appreciate a lot, Jelli. But he used it really well because he just kept the pressure on his opponent. And I thought there was a few different things that there was a few different scenarios that I thought, Shuckle can kind of come in here with Darm now that Jodigan's gone and just kind of just click Flare Blitz and kill things. That's a bit scary, and there's a couple of other things. But Shuckle had numerous misplays. He had Mega Latios in at one point against Diggersby, and he went for Calm Mind in front of Diggersby after Diggersby picked up a couple of a kill, and I was thinking, this is a Diggersby.
You attack the Diggersby. That's how you play Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah, this. You don't just assume Diggersby switches here. You can't, because if Diggersby stays in and clicks return, you're dead. There's just no way around it. This is it's Diggersby. It smacks things really hard.
It almost sounds like he completely just blanked on value. Like he didn't, like he was going for the calm mind when the value is not there. When if they just stay in, you pretty much lose the game. So
Yeah, and it was funny because as soon as the Drudigon went down, I thought the Druid the exchange that Otto had for with Drudigon. I can't remember who ended up picking off, but the exchange he ended up the exchange he had, like I thought this was a big risk because I was like, you know, Darmanitan answer now. Like Darmanitan comes in now. He got rocks up, which was good. So it meant Darmanitan was on like limited time. If it came in early, like the rocks had to go. But if Darm came in, like Darm could have gotten like 2, 3, 4 fair blitzes off, and even then, it could have gotten down to the red. And if it had Endeavor, could have came in, broke something else, had it down in red as well. So like Darm had like a way more open field to be able to do work with Drudigon gone, and I was a bit surprised Shuckle didn't exploit that as much. Like he kept Darm in the back until the very end, and I was like, I think Darm breaks through things here. Darm should be doing it. So Otto did really good with his hyper offense, and doing a really good job of pressuring Shuckle. But I think Shuckle not noticing that Drudigon's gone now, I should be using Darm a bit more, and then Combine in front of a Diggersby was just madness, just a bit mad. Yeah. So that's what happened. Those were the 2 games I watched. If anyone's curious as to the playoff seedings, we have Vepsis at number 1 and Leo at number 2. Funny,
yeah,
I remember
I would just like to say you're welcome, Vepsis, for that I dropped, and I know you're really going to enjoy that buy now. So.
Oh wow! Yeah,
I'm sorry, I had to.
I hope he sends you a Christmas card. I hope
he better. Like, if he wins the season, it's all because of me. Let's just say that.
Let's just be honest. You know, I hope he sends you a Christmas card. You know, you should set up a PO box, right?
Exactly. Like I've given him the Shuckle King or Merolt round 1. Like I mean round 2. Like he pretty much has a finals ticket because of me here. So there you go.
Wow. Right, well, I tell you, man, you need to reach out and say, listen, I need at least a Christmas card, minimum.
You know? Yeah, give me that Amazon gift card. I need to buy the other version of Pokemon Sword and Shield.
That's what it means, like, you know, it's worth that, you know, $75 or whatever it is. That's what it's worth.
Okay, maybe not that far, but yeah.
I'm really interested that Leo got second. I remember somebody here saying that Leo's washed up.
Did he? He only lost 1 game since taking over, right?
Yeah.
All right, I guess I have to eat my words. It's just how it is.
So yeah, he still has a bit of skill then. Is that right? He's still able to, you know, play the game.
Can we just boil it down to other people not having skill? Is that fair?
I don't think it is. I think that's a major disrespect, considering that the 11th team on this list is your team.
He did beat like some good players like Vepsis, like that Toronto Leaf Storm's GOAT guy there. Did beat John Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he just 3 wins besides that, but yeah.
So let me get this straight. He bet Vepsis, and he bet you.
Yeah.
And he finished 6-2, and he's the number 2 overall seed. So he's good. He's good then.
I can't argue this. Like I was just wrong. Like I guess he's not lost.
Yeah, he's look. You see, man, you need to have a bit more faith, like what I do, right? I come in, I was like, no, I still believe this guy's going to do well, and you just they mess up once, and you're just like, these guys, stop. He's gone. He's over the hill. You know, you're like a Stephen A. Smith or something like that over in America. As soon as they mess up once, you're like on the bandwagon, jumping down the throat. You know. Whereas I'm like, no, gotta give it time. This guy's got a bit of a track record. You gotta give it time, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there were some other players who I did not expect to make the playoffs who did, like Merolt and Otto, and yeah.
Let's talk about Otto making playoffs, because I remember.
Do we have to? I don't think we have to. Do we?
I think we do. Because I remember being on this podcast and saying I believe Otto would make playoffs, and you were saying Otto won't make playoffs. He's not that good. And
all right, Otto, I expect a Christmas card as well. That's all I have to say about that.
So basically, you get Vepsis the league and you give Otto your playoff spot. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. They should be glad I stopped caring about Pokemon after UBL. That's exactly what I'm saying here.
You're going to need a PO box just for all these Europeans sending you Christmas cards.
I will DM you guys my PO box number and
just like hook me up.
I expect $30 from each of you. There we go. Pokemon Sword.
There we go. Yeah, between the 2 years, easy. You know, I like it. So the playoff permutations, guys, is that Vepsis and Leo get a week off, and it'd be Marold, who finished third seed, and I was delighted to see him finish third seed, and he only missed out on second seed by diff. He's
One
only
differential,
one diff behind Vepsis and Leo.
Well, did Leo have the head-to-head on Marolt? I think he did, right?
Let me double check. I don't know if they played.
He did.
He did.
4-0'd Marolt,
Yeah,
so.
it was 4-0. So like he had
So,
he has the
Marolt would have needed 2 more differential. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been would have been tough. So we have Marold versus it's Shuckle King, which I actually think Marold will win based off what I saw from Shuckle King against Otto. I was like, if this guy's
I don't know if Shuckle King was. It's weird because was that Shuckle King actually trying? Because I think if he lost that game, he could have potentially missed as well, right?
Yeah, it depends, right? So had Frosted won, and won, like, say Frosted won 4-0, like that, like, yeah, like Frosted could have leapfrogged him, and so
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
he had to. He ended up being looking at, like, Frosted lost 3-0 to Vepsis. Let's say that result was flipped, or no, say she won 4-0, and Shuka lost more to Otto because Otto was playing hybrid offense, so Pokemon dropped in left, right, and center. Like he could have easily missed out. Like he was kind of lucky at the end. He should have got in against Otto, saying this is must win, just to ensure playoffs. So
he could have gotten a bye week if he won with enough differential. Like, come on.
Yeah, like it was kind of he missed out. He missed out big time.
So when you have inevitably commons in front of his elements in the playoffs, what's Smirl going to battle? I guess he would battle Vepsis, right?
I'm not too sure. I don't know that playoff permutation, but I would expect Merle to kind of be in because Merle has had a really fine season under his belt, and based off what I've seen of Shuckle, I'm like,
it's very iffy.
Yeah, it's very iffy. Otto versus versus John Jr. is the other playoff matchup. I kind of like Otto's matchup here. I think when it's Celesteela versus Tabacoco, Tabacoco normally comes out the winner. So I like that. And I think that, I think Otto has the team that's able to beat John Jr.'s. Like John Jr.'s Megazard X, I think he can deal with it, which is really, really nice. And I think the combination of, and I think Tabacoco is able to pick up the Celesteela. And then after that, like Diggersby, Gengar, like these are things I can pick off the likes of Clefable, and the Rose Raids and all the other bulky stuff that's on John Jr.'s team. I'd be a little bit worried about Sticky Webs for Otto, but I think Otto overall has the matchup and should be able to win based off matchup alone.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate, by the way, that these are both matchups that we did not see in the regular season, so that just makes it all the more exciting.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be good. You might watch this. Even.
I will. I actually will watch these matchups just so I can see Shuckle King come on in front of his elements and lose. So
yeah, it's going to be entertaining. And then you'll be able to come out here like on episode 11 with your new jingle and be like, "I am the GOAT. If I was still in this league, I would have won. Look at this guy. Look at the mistakes he's making. I don't make these mistakes. I would have came out here, trolled his on, gone on league title. That would have been. That's what I'd be expecting now. Like I expect you. I expect you to have a jingle just for Jelli's GOAT moments and just be able to come out and just say this guy hot trash and this. I think that's what the people want. I remember seeing a comment on one of our podcasts one time, like, came for the podcast, stayed for Jelli's what's called diss
that
track.
was indeed Dr. Slacking. Who
So I wouldn't be too averse to hear that one again. Another OP Justin diss track coming.
Hey, I can diss all I want now, but I will prove my point when Gen 8 and UBL starts and all that. So there you go.
I'm looking forward to it.
I will get the jingle though. That's happening.
That's happening. I want to hear it. I think if we're going to make early playoff predictions, I think Merle and Otto win. I think Leo and Vepsis beat those two respectively, and I think Vepsis beats Leo and becomes champion. What do you think?
I think I'm going to go with the exact same thing as you. Vepsis beats Leo, but I think they're both going to beat John Jr. and Shuckle King, not Merle and Otto.
Right. Okay. Do you really think Otto just does not have the skill set? Is that it? You just don't think he's a good enough battler to do it?
I don't know. Like when I battled him, he had definitely understood what I was bringing, but I think there was definitely some really flawed value turns in that game. So that's kind of where I get my opinion of Otto. But I don't actually watch enough of his battles to really form that big of an opinion. So I'm just gonna give it to John Jr., who I know definitely understands the value system. That's my thought process.
Okay. All right, not too bad. I should like come out and admit that I did lose to Otto last time I played him, but he had like a Landorus incarnate that was just.
Oh yeah, call that fair. Yeah, you can just blame it on that.
I had Ash Greninja, but like Greninja has to get the kill, whereas he had Landorus incarnate.
Wait, was this?
In
This was MPL, right?
Yeah, but like so I had to like get a kill, which funny enough, no one likes giving Greninja a kill. Have you ever thought about that?
I have. Like that's what's so good about Astrid. You can condition your opponent to where they have to switch in something offensively just so it doesn't get battle bond.
Yeah, it's kind of like, guys, I just get battle bond already, please. This is more fun.
Who cares who won? Who had the better record that season? I'm curious here.
I did. No, I did. To be fair. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, did I? I got further. I got further. I lost.
You made semi-finals against Sebi, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I lost to Sebi. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. I left on my shield, so it's fine. It's fine.
So back to consistency over a single game. That's how I look at it here.
I like it. Okay, right. So that's our predictions for EWT. If you guys have your own predictions, please let us know. Again, on the comment section down below if you watch on YouTube, or on the socials on Discord and on Twitter in the podcast description on the podcast service that you are listening on. Awesome. Right. I believe we will move on to the PGBL.
Yes, because BBL decided to die for who knows what reason. So
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on there, but it's a strange, mysterious world.
So I was looking forward to that too. They had a really strong roster, so kind of a shame.
They did, and it's a cool format as well with the Ubers in the mix. It's nice, and I was kind of hoping that with WB gone, we'd be able to actually give this thing proper love, because it's a bit more difficult to find the stats on it, you guys. It's a lot more private. So it's a lot more difficult to get the stats on it.
Speaking about PGBL, now correct me if I'm wrong, this league will not be finished by the time Gen 8 launches, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
So this will be lingering on for another 3 or 4 weeks after Gen 8, after Sword and Shield.
So whenever we get around to those podcasts, then we can still talk about one Gen 7 league for you guys, I guess.
That's correct, yes. So Draft League is not going to be completely dead on the podcast for another little while. Which is nice. I only saw one game. Did you see any PGBL games?
I did not see any games, but I do have the records in front of me, so yeah.
Now we should note, guys, that the record we're not privy to the insider stuff. When we look at these records, we basically are looking at the same records you guys are watching, or get to look at. The records are massively skewed. So I have just watched week 4. The records I'm looking at are are from the results from week 2. So it's very hard to get a real grasp as to what really is going on with these in this league based on that. But so you have to kind of follow the battles, which is very annoying, guys, for us doing a podcast, because it makes us do more work. So it's not as fun. But I watched Slacking versus Randy recently.
They battled this early? Okay.
Yeah, they battled week 4. That was actually a really good game. It was really good game. So Slacking had his team kind of prepped to be able to deal with the vast majority of Randy's team. He had a Lucario set built to beat Alomomola, which it did with a sub Drain Punch Bulk Up combo, which was really, really cool. It managed to 1v1 the Alomomola, which was awesome. I'm
assuming he EV'd it to where Skull didn't break a sub, right?
Exactly. He EV'd it where Skull didn't break a sub, and a Bulk Up a +1 defense liquidation. Lucario's +1 defense liquidation for Alomomola didn't break it, and actually, funny enough, Randy brought liquidation and Skull on Alomomola to be able to handle that. So that was awesome prep. I was actually this is cool prep. I love it.
Yeah, that was a scenario. When you see both players envision the same scenario, that's really cool.
Yeah, you dig it. That's what you want to see. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So that managed to actually beat the Alabama Mola 1v1, but Lucario got really worn down because of Rocket Helmet and all that kind of, and subs and all that kind of good stuff. But it did its job. It 1v1 Alabama Mola and freed up the game. And then the other couple of things happened was that Slacken was afraid of a Leaf Storm sweeping Superior, but it was an Overgrowth Superior. Now, I didn't get to watch Randy's side before I came on air, so I don't know if that was a misgen or if there was a different set, but it looked like to me it was a misgen because it was a Special Superior, which definitely sucks, but it didn't really matter at the end. And Calm Mind Jirachi, which Randy ended up having Calm Mind Jirachi, so it was very weird that Slacking knew exactly. It was kind of like he perfectly predicted Randy's team. He swear he got the team sheet before he even went into battle, but he managed to execute his game plan flawlessly and was in control from start to finish and managed to pick up the W. Didn't take any too many risks, and I don't know what record he's on at the moment, because as soon as the battle was over, I was like, right, I gotta start recording this podcast. So I just kind of like
The website says it's a 1-1, so assuming he beat Randy, which he said he did, he's now 2-1 there. So I guess it just boils down to the week 3 game, which I don't think either of us know of, right?
I didn't get to go and watch it.
Let me check right now. Actually, I got you.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
Dr. Slacking. But over on the other it's really weird. There's 5 1-1 teams on this division, and then there's like 2 2-0 teams, but 3 1-1 teams on the other one. It's kind of strange.
Now, we did say earlier on, right, that when we first reviewed the PGBL, that the one conference, the conference with the 2 2-0 teams, was a very weak conference. Like we always said, it's a very weak conference. And that route and visually, on paper, should be getting playoffs easily. So, no big surprise that those are the 2 2-0 teams, and all the other teams are 1-1, either 1-1 or 0-2, based off week 2 results. So, no surprise.
Yeah. It's looking like, by the way, Dr. Slacking is 3-1 because he did a 1-0 win against Merle. So, yeah.
Take it. Awesome. So, I'm kind of happy because I was like, I think I was saying Slacking will sneak playoffs, which is really, really good. It's really, really good. I don't know Frosted's record. I actually have an interesting question about Frosted here, right? Okay, I'm going to bring it up now, right? Because I think Frosted is a very good battler. Okay, a battler. She has beaten me. She's gotten better with Vepsis, like much better. Because her prep is way more sophisticated. Like when I battle her, you could tell the difference when I battle her like a few weeks into a draft league season versus her earlier in the draft league, like because Vepsis came in, improved her, and then I battled her after a few weeks was insane, and she ended up beating me narrowly. But my question is, Frost is a really good battler, but do we overhype her? Is my question.
Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, I've had 2 games with her. They were both 1-0 wins in my favor. They were really close. Like, I think there were, in both games, one play in the end could have had the matches go her way. I really don't think we overhype her, but I think it's also obvious that she's not at the best of the best, right?
See, my problem is when people overhype her saying she's a really good battler. And I think she is quite a good battler, right? I really do think so. And like, she is not an easy matchup for anybody. Okay, like she's a tough matchup in any draft league. But I have yet to have seen her win a big game. You know, if you kind of catch my drift, I have yet to have seen her win a key playoff game or win a big game that has a huge playoff implication or win a big game against a really top level battler. I have yet to have seen her do it. I've seen her have incredible pieces of play. I've seen her absolutely dominate 1 or 2 opponents that are just not on her skill level. But if she's up against somebody who's a very competent battler like herself, I find she's always on the wrong side of the result.
Yeah, I've had the chance to watch some of her battles, actually. I find that she plays a lot more turn-to-turn based than looking at the big picture, and I think that's her one big flop. But if you put that aside, that's where she manages to beat all of the average or below average opponents. So that's my take on her.
Yeah, I think so too. And the only reason why I'm saying do we overhype her is because, again, she hasn't beaten anybody that I would say of note that I would like, wow, okay, that was a big result. That was awesome. You know, like, and a lot of players would have a big result. You're like, wow, okay, that was a big result. Awesome. Like that really kind of pushed them to that other level, and then you start to see the progression. I've seen her make a huge step up when Veps has helped her, and now and the level she's at now. But she just hasn't been able to. I feel like she's been at the ceiling, and she just needs to break through that next ceiling to get to the next level. And I totally agree with your point. She needs to kind of start thinking in like 3 to 4 turns rather than each turn. But her playstyle definitely matches her turn to turn base. She just needs to develop the next stage of that and be like, if I pivot into this Pokemon, I force this scenario. Is that scenario that I can exploit? Rather than, if I click this move, I can get a bit of chip, but go into this Pokemon and I can figure out what's going on there. She has to kind of like, I know what I'm going to do this turn because I've created this scenario. And it was something we talked about a while ago as well, where when in prep, you need to visualize the scenarios that you're going to create and how do you exploit them.
And I actually think she's okay with that. Like, she'll understand scenarios that are 1 to 2 turns ahead. She'll envision those in prep. But I think what she fails at is understanding how those scenarios help her entire game plan. Like, how does winning this scenario and removing that Pokemon by doing this move help your win condition, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to seeing her in Gen 8, and seeing where she develops and how she evolves, because I think she's slightly overhyped, but I think she's only overhyped because we know that she's like only like 1 or 2 steps away from being like a very good player and being like a constant playoff contender versus being someone that's just a really hard match, but will always just narrowly miss playoffs, if you get me.
Yeah, I think the fact that she missed both UBL and EWT playoffs does not really take away from her battling capability. I think she's a lot better than what that shows.
Yeah, definitely. But she just never got the big wins. She never got the big wins.
She had some of the toughest losses in EWT too. She battled Vepsis, she battled me. I think she had to battle Leo, so yeah.
Like that was a tough schedule. Like, and for her, like, she ended up 500. Like, she ended up 4-4. So she didn't have a losing record, but the problem is it's not a winning record. So she's just missing the next level. She's missing the next level. And I'd be kind of hopeful that Vepsis would be able to take the next level, but Vepsis kind of definitely got to sit down and it's like, listen, right, we got to start thinking more about more overall end game and how you're going to get to certain situations versus play by play, because like there's certain scenarios I would definitely say, right, if this happens, I have to do this. But generally play by play, I'm like, okay, I want to kind of get us here. I want to and get this Pokemon in because it's my offensive Pokemon. I want to get it in and do a bit of work. So I kind of try to plan around that. So, anyways,
yeah, obviously it would help if we actually saw how Vepsis, worded his scenarios to Frosted. But I think he should definitely focus more on, okay, this is what you're trying to reach for, rather than, okay, this counters this. So if this scenario shows up, you know what to do. And I think if he can just open that, I guess, competitive lens in Frosted, she'll get a lot better instantly. She already understands the scenarios herself, so.
Oh yeah, definitely, and she'll be pushed on to the next level then easily. Now, of course, I think she's got like an awful lot of IRL stuff, computer breaking, masters. This is kind of due. So there's definitely other stuff involved.
I saw her. She wants to sue the person who made thesis required.
Yeah, I don't blame her. That's one of the main reasons why I said after my degree, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to work.
Did you finish after just the 4 years, or did you do anything after that?
So I
know this is kind of off topic, but
so I finished my 4-year electrical engineering degree, and I was interviewed for a scholarship for a master's, and I was interviewed for a job, and I didn't get the scholarship, and I got the job, and I was like, dude, I'm getting paid. Good luck.
Yeah. For all this education garbage, let me go get my money.
Money. Yeah.
Yeah, look at it. You're fine. So there you go, guys.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so we don't. I don't think we've any really that we can deep dive on the PGBL because we don't have the real up to date standings. And
we know that Dr. Slacking's 3-1, so that's really it.
That's really it. So I think he's got, it's an 8-week season, right? So they're halfway through. He's 3-1. I think all he needs is 2 more wins, and he's got playoffs locked up. So
That's actually with this division system, it should be true. But
yeah,
obviously, with something like EWT, that would not be true.
yeah, but I think with his system, I think if he just ends up with 2 more wins, he's got a lock. So I'm hopeful. I think he's got a good shot. I think his team's very good as well.
Yeah,
So
maybe that week one, I guess holdback of the sets will actually work out for him in playoffs, and you never know.
we'll see. But look, if he bombs out in playoffs, right? Okay, you and we can just go to town and be like, listen, this guy hiding sets week one should be doing it. Should have gone straight in, got number 1 seed, get your bye. Easy. But no, he ended up getting number 2 seed, and now look, he's out.
Yeah, you could have avoided playing that. You could have avoided playing Randy in quarterfinals, but nope.
Nope. Yeah, and there you go. So look, we have the ammunition in the back pocket,
Yeah.
Brilliant. I think that's everything we have for the PGBL. So we'll go to our Twitter questions. We did get another Twitter question while we were doing the podcast, which is awesome.
Oh, okay. Let me check this.
I'm going to give our boy here a minute.
All right, I got it. Don't worry. Skylander,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our first question is from BB. He asks, "What are some last-minute hopes we have for Sword and Shield?" I still want the national decks, so that's going to be my last-minute hope until the very end. I want all my Pokemon, and I don't care about the Dynamaxing or the Gigamaxing, whatever. I just want all the Pokemon. That's all I want. I'm a very simple, basic chappine. Just give me all the Pokemon. What about you? What about you, buddy?
So obviously I want that as well, but you did mention Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing. What I want is some sort of confirmation that Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing have the wall-breaking potential to dissuade a bulkier metagame. That's my desire.
Oh, I get you, because they're naturally bulky once they click that ability, once they click this new feature, they get extra bulk. And
but not just that. Because Z moves are going away, I want these 3 turns of Dynamaxing or Gigantamaxing during a battle to completely destroy Stall's cores and just make it so that bulk is not a very big factor in the metagame like it wasn't in Gen 7 as well. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. No, I'd like to see that as well. I'd like to see that because I think we both appreciate how offensive this meta has been. Yeah. It's been awesome.
So if Z moves and Megas are gone, we want another factor that can actually get rid of this bulky meta for us.
Yeah, otherwise it'll be Chanseys, Blissies, Mega Sableyes.
Well, none of that. I don't think any of those are confirmed necessarily.
Yeah, but just the bulkier stuff.
There's a lot of bulky waters.
Yeah, and we will get into that at a later podcast. We'll try and discuss and dissect what we expect for the competitive meta for Sword and Shield, because we won't ask that, but I think that deserves a full 20-minute topic. Rather than just
and obviously at some point we will know what the meta will be like and whether this Dynamaxing or Gigantamax can actually help out or not.
Exactly, and we'll be able to go back and forth and say, okay, what did we say earlier and what did we end up having and all that. If we end up guessing all this right, man, we forget about us doing podcasts. We need to become psychics. Honestly,
of course,
just people should ask us what we think is going to happen, and we're like, this is what's going to happen, and then boom, we should start. We could be the great predictors,
Yes, con artistry. I like it.
I think the other thing I like for last minute hopes, I don't want a firefighting starter. That's the only other thing I think. I'm easy other than that. I just don't want a fire starter. I want that.
I agree. Yeah. It's looking like we will get one.
Yeah. I don't know yet, but I'm hoping. I hope we don't get it. And the last thing is, I don't want Ireland being dumped in as a side little thing on this game. Just leave it as Great Britain. Leave my little country out of it. My little country deserves a game on its own. All right, I don't want to be tagged on with this and have Americans more confused again that Ireland is part of the UK. No, we are not. Only the North is. The rest of us, we are our own country. I want. That's the only thing I want, because there's nothing that annoys an Irishman more than being said, "Oh, sure, you're British," and we're like, "Ooh."
You're just a little side factor in this game, guys. Don't worry about it.
See, now, that's like creating a game for Canada and then just having America just shove it in at the end, as a little thing, right?
Exactly.
Just, I can't deal with it. So that's me. Exactly.
Surface area does not determine value.
Exactly. Then our second and last question comes from Skyrander. He asks, would Ice types be viable if Stealth Rocks was never introduced? And if so, what mons would be the dominant forces? Do you want to take this one first, Olai?
I'm a bit confused. Is he asking would ice types have been viable, or would ice types be even more viable? Like,
I'm go
what exactly?
so I'm going to say being more viable rather than just viable.
Yeah, okay. So, what mons would be the dominant forces? I think Weavile having infinite switch-ins sounds kind of broken, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest.
Yeah.
Weavile,
Mm-hmm.
like, Ice is already one of the most spammable offensive tappings in the game. Naturally, it's very bad defensively, but have to worry about hazards being on the field and taking 25% every turn. It just makes your ice type attacks just that much more spammable. So any Pokemon that can spam Ice Beam, Blizzard, Icicle Crash are just going to rise up in the metagame. Kyurem Black, for example, I could see Specs Kyurem Black from Gen 6 being a lot more
Mm-hmm.
viable in Gen 7 had Stealth Rock's not been such a prominent factor. Now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, the Defog tutor did sort of help with this problem, formed a lot of chords with ice types, and you could still use Weavile effectively, but
Mm-hmm.
if Stealth Rocks were never introduced in the first place, I think Ice would just be the best offensive tapping in the game.
Mm-hmm. Um, like I don't like. I definitely get what you mean. Like ice is like a really nice spammable type, and
Yeah.
it is fun. I don't know how much more viable it would be though, right? Because like steel types are everywhere, right? In competitive
Yeah.
Pokemon, like they're everywhere. Okay, so like you're like most ice types are going to get bought by that, which is just it is just the case. Like you have a type that's going to be on like near enough every single team, you know. So and they'll be an answer to an ice type. So even though it's very spammable, I don't know how much more viable it would be than what it is right now because just the way that the like Pokemon teams generally get constructed, they'd have a steel type. That steel type would be able to handle any ice type that would come in and deal with it.
Yeah.
I think where you might see a bit more like viability if Step Fox were gone, and it would be you might see the Aurora abused a lot more. I could see that, and I could see Mammoth Weavile being used a lot more because they again get free switch-ins as you said, but
Yeah, Mammothvine can retain Focus Sash as much as it wants as long as spikes aren't up, so yeah.
yeah, so it becomes a lot more easier then for them. I don't see a Pokemon when I look through the ice types. I don't see a Pokemon that I'm like, oh, this Pokemon could really excel without Stealth Rocks. Like I just like any ice type I'm seeing, I'm like, I just don't see any that really sticks out. I'm like, yeah, I wish there was no rock types. Like they all, I think the Pokemon that already excel as really prominent offensive ice types are already there as really good ice types, like the Alolan Ninetales, your Weaviles, your Mamoswines. You
You're
know,
Kyurem Black, yeah.
yeah, like nothing will change for them. It'll just be harder to deal with them because they don't get to 25%. So I'm not I don't I think in answer to the question on my point of view, I think they'll only be slightly more viable because Royalvale could be abused a little bit more, but not massively. And I don't see any Pokemon outside of your standard ice types that would become a bigger dominant force.
Yeah. I would also like to say I did make a mistake when going over my points. Ice would not be the most spammable typing in the game. Flying would easily be the most spammable typing in the game if rocks were gone.
Ooh, fire or flying?
Flying is already super spammable. Like how many like you will often see rosters without great flying resists. Like the flying resist will be a Thundurus or a Manectric. Like those don't want to take Brave Birds.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fair. No, that's fair enough. And to be,
Like imagine the thing that makes flag spam so bad is because the recoil plus hazards just holds it back so much. But if you just take away one of those factors, then there you go.
yeah, no, I can see it. I can see it. Like being able to just spam Brave Bird, like
Yeah, so
from a Staraptor is like that's just fun.
I
Like that is
definitely
straight up just
think
fun.
that's going to be, even better than ice types. Now, obviously, that kind of threw off the
Mm.
subject, but I just wanted to correct myself.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think one Pokemon that might see a bit more usage. Now, I'm not going to say it becomes a dominant force, but might get a little bit more usage. And this is minimum now, guys. I think it'll go from NU to RU, and I think that would be Piloswine because Piloswine is just really bulky with the Evolite. But like that's like for me, one tier shift is not that big of a deal. So I just don't see.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't see anything else. I don't see Cloyster being bumped up. I don't see Articuno being a big thing. like maybe Articuno has a bulky wall like Lugia, maybe, but that's
Like
a
a
big stretch.
budget bulky wall that's actually allowed. Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, but like that's we're really stretching there. Do you know? You're really stretching
Yeah.
there.
I
You know?
definitely agree with Paliswan though. When you have a Pokemon that relies on its bulk, has no reliable recovery whatsoever, and needs an Eviolite instead of leftovers, the hazards, even if it's just 12%, make all the difference. So
Yeah,
I agree
big
with
time,
Paliswan.
big time. Um, but yeah, I think. Yeah, no, I think that's it for that. I kind of wish we had more ice types. If I'm being honest, like you look at the ice type roster we have, it is tiny, tiny.
Yeah, like we're about to lose some too. Like Mega Glalie is about to not be a thing anymore. So
Yeah, that's gone. Mega Bamsno gone. You know, if you look at some of these ice types, you're like, damn, we need more ice
yeah, like
types.
these Alolan forms that I don't think those are going to be there, right?
Yeah, so Sandslash is gone. Ninetales is
Ninetales.
gone. Um, so those two are gone. Your Mega Bamsno is gone. Your
I don't think Silvally Ice is going to be around anymore, right?
Yeah, gone.
Kyurem Black gone. Kyurem
Yeah,
gone.
yeah. We can just assume Kyurem is not going to be there. Arceus, I would assume is going to be there, but like, come on, you're not going to be talking about Arceus. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is Rotom in the game? I think Rotom is in the game, isn't
Uh,
it?
I will check it right now. Rotom is in the game.
Yeah. So
Yes.
You have Rotom Frost. But like
Let
we
me just
don't
check
know
how many
about.
ice types.
Yeah, like poor Ice. Ice needs a bit more love. It really does.
I
It
wanted
really
to
needs a
know
bit more
there
love.
are 9 ice types confirmed for Sword and Shield. That's really sad.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
We need more ice types for sure.
We have the
For sure.
Snorunt line, we have the Vanillite line, we have Rotom Fridge, we have Glaceon.
Mm.
1 second, where are the other ones? No, that's not even an ice type, that's Jellicent for an ICE, so nope. And then we have Avalugg and Bergmite. Those are the only ice types.
Oh my god. No.
So
No.
3 evolution lines and Rotom. That's it.
Yeah, done. Yeah, yeah, it needs more love. It just needs more love. We put that down as another thing we want. Last minute host of Sword and Shield, more ice types.
Yes, please. More ice
Please.
types, less bug types, less
Yeah.
less water types, please. No more of that.
Well, like, what are you expecting? It's based in the UK, like, you know, or Great Britain, I should say. Sorry, it's based in Great Britain. It's
Yeah.
going to be like it rains over there. Like,
Well, yeah, but I don't want these bulky waters making this meta bad again.
I know, but like, what were you expecting? I know we were going to get water types, now more offensive waters, please. But we were going to get water types and grass types and bug types. That's and flying types.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
guess I have to expect it.
you know, unfortunately. But yeah,
All right.
I think that is everything for today. Have you got anything
Yeah,
else
I
to
mean
add?
that was actually a lot longer than anticipated, so that was
Yeah,
good.
but it was nice. It was nice, and we got the heavy stuff out of the way. We got onto some light stuff as well, which is lovely.
Yes. Next time, I think most notable things jingle will be here. Don't worry. Irish will have a hot take ready, and then I believe what was the other thing? Oh yeah, the team submissions. We couldn't get anybody for what's the series called again? I completely forgot.
Fix my team.
The
Fix
second.
my team. Yeah.
Yes, fix my team. So if you have a team you want fixed, or you want us to build you a team around a certain core of like 2 or 3 Pokemon, just hit us up and we got you.
We got you. We got you guys. We'll slide you with a team that's going to rocket you up to the top.
Yeah. Let us know on Twitter, Discord, in the comments, wherever you feel necessary. And yeah.
Yeah. On that note, you guys, we're going to get up out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Later.